on Halloween morning, which was a very appropriate date for this to happen, and that's something that the movie goes in great detail about. I have seen the film in its entirety, so I'm going to be giving you my opinion on it. I'm going to be giving you a star rating as it relates to what my feelings are towards the film. I enjoyed it, and I will go on record for saying that the film deserves an Academy Award just for camera work alone. If you've had the opportunity to check out the Blu-ray edition of the film, which is in 7.1 surround sound and 1080 pixels, you know what I'm talking about. The stunts, the camera work that was done by the actors and the cameraman for the film definitely deserves an Academy Award, and not only for that, but for the elements that were included in the film. A lot of action, a lot of drama, a lot of suspense, a lot of thrills, and a lot of horrifying scenes, especially during the shark attack which took place. I apologize to the listening audience. It seems like I have a bit of a frog in my throat here this evening, so you're going to have to bear with me as I get down through the details that I'm going to be relaying back to you for the Soul Surfer film. We have a number of audio clips which we're going to be playing throughout the presentation of this program, which gives you a little bit of a in-depth look at Soul Surfer. They range anywhere from 2.5 minutes to 4 minutes in length. We're going to be sticking on several of those. As well, we're going to be playing some featured music in the film, which gives you a little bit of an idea of what Soul Surfer was really all about. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect if you have the opportunity to check out Soul Surfer. There are a lot of emotional scenes in the film. This is Carrie Underwood's theatrical debut in terms of a movie role. She plays the friend of Bethany Hamilton in the film. Very well done. It has family elements. It seems like it has crucial elements of every type of film. And that's what makes Soul Surfer so successful. As I said, you know, it was based on true events. I don't know the exact date in terms of the year that this had happened, but it seems like a lot of shark films are based off true events. I know Open Water was, and I know Jaws was probably one of the only fictional shark films that had been released. But I think that, you know, many shark films definitely are created off of true events, and Soul Surfer is definitely one that was. I'm surprised that a book wasn't written about the Soul Surfer film. How I first found out about Soul Surfer actually was by browsing through YouTube. I saw the theatrical trailer and it looked very, very appealing. Following seeing the theatrical trailer for Soul Surfer, I actually went and read several articles on the true event that had taken place leading up to the creation of this film, which was produced by the same company that released Insidious that same year in 2011, and films like I Know What You Did Last Summer and the sequels to I Know What You Did Last Summer. I read several reports on different news sources on the internet that went into great detail about the incident, detailing Bethany Hamilton's tragedy and how she learned a lot of life lessons, and how she actually won several Teen Choice Awards, and in 2009 placed second in the Junior Surfing Championships, which was absolutely phenomenal for someone who had to overcome such a huge obstacle in her life. And I guess that was one of the main inspirations behind Hollywood wanting to create this. It's a perfect example of how hard somebody else has it other than yourself, no matter how hard of a situation you may find yourself caught up in. Soul Surfer is a great dramatization of how more difficult somebody else other than yourself has it. There are many, many people out there that are suffering from numerous disabilities, and the inhabilitation of body parts such as losing your arm and stuff like that is a tremendous obstacle to definitely overcome, but it shows just how far one individual can go. I have to give Carrie Underwood a great deal of credit for not only her acting ability in this film, her very first film that she was actually featured in as one of the lead roles. She plays a supermodel in the film, actually. That's her job title. And her bond with the lead actor in the film, a lead actress, is absolutely incredible. Not only that, but the song that she actually produced for the film definitely strikes a nerve from time to time with me, and I'm sure a lot of people who have seen the film. We're going to be sticking on some music from the film later on in the program. And we're also going to be sharing some information about some shark incidents which have happened over the last 50 years. This is probably one of the best shark films in years that I've seen. And I'm not just saying that because Jaws was the only film with shark feelings that actually appealed to me. Open Water sucked. Shark Night in 3D is probably going to suck because they use mechanical sharks for it. But a lot of shark films that have been produced prior to following Jaws actually sucked, and this was the first shark movie I had seen in years that actually was interesting to me because it involved a rogue shark, and so many crucial elements of the film industry were included with this film. And I really, really enjoyed it. The actors actually of the film were involved with a lot of award shows after the theatrical release of Soul Surfer. They were involved actually at the Country Music Awards from earlier this year, where they introduced Carrie Underwood's performance of the song Undone, which is absolutely phenomenal too, to know that they were getting a lot of media exposure. And the Blu-ray and DVD definitely includes a lot of crucial information about the true incident which happened several years ago. And it's absolutely phenomenal. You see some cameo appearances in terms of video footage from the actual person who was involved with this situation. I can't imagine myself being caught in this type of situation and how I would actually deal with it, given my fear of water and my fear of actual sharks that I suffer from and have suffered from my entire life. I can't imagine myself being caught in that type of predicament and actually having to deal with it. But her calmness and her exception actually of what happened to her in the film is definitely illustrated, and illustrated very highly in the film. And some people who would actually be caught in this type of situation and scenario would actually probably lose their mind. And how collective she was and how calm she was actually during this, and when she realized that she had been bitten by a tiger shark, a rogue shark, whatever you want to call it, is absolutely phenomenal. And her acting ability, the person that actually portrays Bethany Hamilton, actually has a strange name, and it's very difficult for me to pronounce. But she did such a wonderful, wonderful job portraying her, and I actually had the opportunity to see the film in its entirety. I've watched it several times, and there are a lot of things that I could talk about and highlight for you here in this week's audio commentary. As I said, there were a number of real-life shark incidents which have inspired films. The same week that the Jaws film was released in 1975, Hollywood created the blockbuster term, which is a way of describing how successful Jaws was. People were lined up for the entire block, and Hollywood came out with the term blockbuster. Jaws was the inaugural blockbuster film, and that same week, actually, there were 4 shark incidents in the same area, similar to what happens in the Jaws movie and in the Jaws novel, which is the inspiration behind the film. There were 4 shark incidents believed to be caused by the same shark, where 4 people were actually killed, and it was believed that a real-life Jaws was actually living in that area. The incidents that are talked about in the open water films, there were 2 of them. One that happened off the coast of Tahiti, and a second one which happened several years later off the coast of California. And Soul Surfer, of course, detailing an incident which happened on Halloween morning several years ago, where 13-year-old champion surfer Bethany Hamilton actually had her entire arm bitten off by a shark. An incident which is definitely undescribable, and the people who were involved with that deserve an award for courage, which Bethany Hamilton was actually awarded with following the incident. And not to mention, I can't imagine myself actually being a champion surfer or actually mastering how to maneuver a surfboard. I think I would last anywhere from 15 to 20 seconds on a surfboard, probably not even that. In all honesty, I can't imagine myself doing that. There are a lot of emotional scenes also in Soul Surfer, if I do say so myself. It's not one of those films where you'll cry from the beginning of the film till the end. There are the occasional person who will sit down for tearjerker films and cry from the beginning of the film till the duration of the film, and I don't think that Soul Surfer can be called a film where you'll sit down from the beginning of the film and cry right till the end. There are certain parts in the film where you'll actually find yourself crying and trying to stop crying, but once the crying commences, I think you'll cry from the start of the scenes that are meant to be tear-jerking scenes right to the end of them. There are certain parts of Soul Surfer where you'll cry. The actual scene where she's actually attacked by the shark, which happens at the first half-hour mark in the film, you'll probably find yourself crying, and the intermingling between herself and her friend actually in a hospital scene where her friend actually admits to her that she thought she was going to die definitely will give you a couple of tears. But there are a lot of emotional scenes in the film, but it's not one of those films where you'll find yourself crying from the beginning of the film until the end. It's not one of those films like The Notebook that leaves you crying from the beginning of the film until the end of it. But it's a film that definitely has a lot of emotional scenes. And as I said, it includes a lot of crucial elements which every film should include. A lot of action, a lot of drama, a lot of suspense, a lot of thrills. It's definitely one of the best shark films that I've seen in years. A very interesting fact here, if I can include it with this week's audio commentary. The term rogue shark actually is derived from an individual who believed back in 1916 that there were certain species of sharks that actually hunted humans